Well, that was probably one of the best halftime shows you'll see in Northeast Ohio this year, with two of the top bands in the area performing. And now let's get it underway in the second half with Berea leading 7-0. And they will get the football to start the second half. On the return, out across the 20-yard line for Berea goes Chris Gooden. And the Braves will have decent field position, 1st and 10, starting out from their own 23-yard line.
And Matt, we were talking there at halftime and talking with head coach Bob Packard, who's taking in the game here down below. And, you know, we figured that that was a called fake field goal, but head coach Bob Packard disagrees with us. He said, brought up a good point. Why would you only have one man out in the pattern if you're going to run a fake field goal? But it did look like Kostranek went right, even though it was a low snap, like he was going to roll out to throw that. So we'll have to talk to Coach Radick after the game to find out if that was called or not.
Well, here go the Braves on 1st and 10, giving it to Damian Padell, who crosses the 30-yard line. And so a good first down carry for the Braves as they get things rolling here in the second half. Yeah, you would imagine that on a fake field goal, your primary receiver would not be the kicker himself. But when Kostranek rolled to his right, that's the man he was looking for, Mike Courtney. But nonetheless, they came away with no points and trail 7-0 as we start the second half of football. Third quarter action, and Berea is marching into the win, which brings up another good point. They'll have the wind at their back in the fourth quarter, but look at Dan Britton knocking it loose and carrying it out across the 40 to the 42-yard line.
Big run there by Britton. They kind of forgot about him, I think, Midpark, because Bedell had been doing the majority of the ball carrying there, but that time Britton picks up 12 yards off right tackle. If you look at the stats from the first half, Midpark dominated in the statistical part, outgaining. Well, they didn't dominate, but they outgained Berea 95-68, and that's unofficial, but
James running for his life, steps up. Now he'll try to run for positive yardage. And he crosses the midfield stripe, gets down to the Midpark 48-yard line before he is finally knocked down. Looked like number 32, Jeff Biala, who came up and made the first contact.
He'll be just short of the first down by about a half a yard. In fact, it's so close they're going to have to measure. No, the Meteors have to burn one of their timeouts. Already a minute and a half into this third quarter, and Midpark has to use a timeout. As you take a look at that last play, could have been disastrous, but James able to turn it upfield and almost get the first down.
And this timeout for Midpark is not to go out and talk strategy. This is a timeout where their defensive coordinator will go out and excoriate the players. You guys have got to turn it up. This is the second half. We're already down by a touchdown, and now in 2 plays, you've let them go almost 25 yards into our territory. And that's basically what he's telling them. The halftime is over, guys.
And it's ugly in the huddle right now because they're really getting a chewing out in there, and you can see that the coaches just don't think the defense is ready to play here in the second half from what they've seen thus far.
That's an all-pro tongue lashing being issued there by the Midpark defensive coordinator.
And maybe that's what they need right now. You know, they figure, well, we had a chance to tie it up at halftime and we didn't get it in, and they're down. And then Berea comes out with 3 plays and gets into their territory. Maybe that's what they need to pick them back up and get them back in this game.
Fumbled snap. We've got flags, whistles, a ball loose on the carpet. Midpark came up with it, but I believe the play was blown dead before the snap.
In that first half, Damian Bedell unofficially 9 carries for 38 yards. He led the way for Berea for Midpark. Dave Slyman, 8 carries for 17 yards.
A dead ball foul, illegal procedure.
So Berea is backed up 5 yards now. Instead of being second and less than a yard, it's second down and call it almost 6. So could be a costly penalty there for the Braves.
And
now
there's
movement,
another one.
And they'll back them up 5 more yards. So without even running a play, the timeout seems to have been effective, if only in the fact that it screwed up the rhythm that the Berea Braves had going.
And head coach Ray Radick was not doing the tomahawk chop there. He was signaling back them up 5 more yards.
Illegal procedure, Berea.
So they go from second and less than a yard to second down and 11, as you see the local media on hand for this evening's ball game. Being such a big game that it is, everybody around wanting to get some highlights of this one.
James again looks to throw. firing downfield. It's tipped and nearly intercepted. The ball was tipped by Rich Cook and therefore deflected incomplete. So now it brings up 3rd down and long.
So a passing situation here, you would think for Berea. Maybe a good time, Matt, to run a draw play with Damian Bedell, see if he can pick up the 1st down yardage.
We saw a draw tight play run earlier when they ran him on the wingback counter, but we haven't seen a true draw, so that might be a good call here. We'll have to wait and see on 3rd and 11. Berea with their first possession, opening possession here in the second half. Bedell on the student body sweep near side. Crosses the 45, across the 50 to the 49-yard line, but he will be short of a 1st down by about a yard.
So they didn't run the draw, but they did give the ball to Bedell and hope that he might break one and pick up the 1st down yardage, but he's going to be short. Hey, the tongue lashing worked. They stopped them. In fact, they're back where they originally were before the penalty, so it's 4th down, and they're going to have to kick. What Midpark has to watch out for here, Matt, is the fact that maybe Berea will go with the long count and try and draw Midpark off sides. And as I say that, they go with the quick snap and punch it down there.
Line drive kick picked up at the 15 and then out to the 20. Jeff Fiala comes. And so the Meteors will have it 1st and 10 at their own 20. Yeah, I'd have to say, as I said earlier, if anything, the timeout by Midpark, if it did anything, it screwed up Berea's timing because boom, boom, back-to-back offensive illegal procedure penalties and put themselves really in the hole.
And Ray Radick now hoping that his offense can generate some momentum here and get the Midpark Meteors back into the game.
First play of the second half for the Meteor offense is a pass complete to Joe Petrino, and it gains almost 5 yards.
Just a quick hitter, and that picks up 4 yards for you, so it's 2nd down and 6, a respectable play there.
Under 9 minutes to play, 3rd quarter action. Berea leading 7-0. Midpark threatened at the end of the first half, but were stopped in on 4th down, trying to fake field goal, and were stopped on that play as well. Now they have it 2nd down and about 5. Another quick pass. This one to Ernie Bielik. He gets out closer to the 1st down, but he'll still be short by about 3 yards.
Matt, we keep saying fake field goal. Like I said, we're going to have to check with Coach Radick after the game to see if that's what was called, or if Tim Kostronic, because of the low snap that did hit the turf, if he just reacted quickly and tried to make something happen.
If anything, it was not a field goal.
We know that much.
So we're at 8 minutes to play, 3rd quarter, and this pass intended for Petrino sails high and out of bounds. So 3 plays and out now for the Midpark offense, and kind of interesting to come out guns a-blazing throwing the football.
The wind at your back, though, you mentioned it earlier that Berea will have the wind at their back in the 4th quarter, so maybe head coach Ray Radick thinking, while we have the wind at our back, let's throw for it and see if we can pick up some yardage.
But I would think that on short patterns, the wind at your back affects you adversely in causing the football to go high. As you see the kick roll down inside the 30, inside the 25. And there again, the effects of AstroTurf aiding the punter. And maybe a misplay on the part of the Berea return man, but I don't think you can fault them because it was such a low line drive type kick. It enabled the coverage team to get down there in a hurry.
You scatter, you yell scatter when you see a punt like that coming your way, as you see a Braves fan and a Meteor fan enjoying the game here this evening. They've gone all out the day after Halloween. They figure we might as well keep our costumes on. But a 49-yard kick there by Corton gets a big bounce out of it, a good break for Midpark.
James hands off to Bedell, slashing through the middle of the field, out across the 30 to the 36-yard line. A gain of 11 on 1st and 10 for Damian Bedell.
His last 3 carries in the ball game, all coming here in this 3rd quarter, of 7 yards, and that one 11. As Bedell gets a breather, and he will be replaced from the Berea sideline, as we look, I believe, by number 32, Johnson.
Appears to be a little shaken up. Either that or he's getting an equipment check on the far side. Looks like maybe Maybe, yeah, they're just checking out the shoulder pads.
And Berea has to hurry here, Matt. And I don't think they're going to take a chance as they'll take a timeout here because the clock was running down. They would have got a delay of game penalty.
So rather than take the 5-yard penalty, they'll burn a timeout. .7:01 left to play third quarter. Midpark trailing Berea 7-0.
One thing I want to mention, Matt, this is the 29th time these two schools have met. And because it is such a great rivalry and these two schools have great football programs, it's safe to say that the winner tonight will have a 1-game lead in the series because they're 14 wins apiece coming into tonight's action. Berea has won the last 2 games and thus has won the last 2 Pioneer Conference championships.
That's interesting because tomorrow afternoon we've got another great college rivalry, Baldwin Wallace, John Carroll, and that rivalry also 13-2. So area rivalries, and that's why they're rivalries, because they're not one-sided, and you never know each year which team may come out the victorious one. This time it's Dan Britton for Berea, up the middle, picks up about a couple. They mark his forward progress to the 37-yard line, so it's going to make it 2nd down and 9.
Britton with the lone touchdown in this ball game on a 1-yard run after the interception by Potts that set up that touchdown, and that's where we stand, 7-0.
As I look over on the far sideline, Damian Bedell has now fixed his shoulder pads. It appeared as though maybe the string that attaches the shoulder pads on the front had busted, and he was getting that fixed, getting relaced. He'll be in on the next play. Meanwhile, James rolling far side, pumps, now he'll cut it up, and he's going to have a 1st down as he crosses the 45-yard line. Out of bounds at the 46. He has enough for a Berea 1st down.
A good play there by James looking downfield. The coverage was there, so why risk the interception? Tucked it up, ran with the football, picked up some nice yardage, and they signal 1st down, so they move the chains.
You doubted me? 6:16 left to play, and now they'll start the clock. Actually, they won't because he did go out of bounds, so we'll wait for the snap of the football. James hands off to Bedell, cutting to his right, back to his left, up the middle, across the 50 to the 49-yard line. You've got to imagine the way he's come out running here in the second half that it's going to be Damian Bedell about 20 more times before this thing's over.
And also give credit to his offensive line. They're doing the job up front. As I mentioned, Bedell here in the second half averaging nearly 7 yards a pop. That time he picked up 5.
Second down and 5. Here's Dan Britton straight ahead. He carries out down to the 44-yard line, and he appears to have close to a 1st down.
Britton now 6 carries, 35 yards and 1 touchdown. Bedell 13 carries and 68 yards.
Short by the length of a football. And so it brings up an interesting 3rd down and short yardage situation. Almost fumbled the snap, and James very wisely just decided to step forward and then got a push from Damian Bedell. Bedell said, "Get up in there, you fumbled the doggone thing."
I think it's a blessing in disguise right there, Matt. I think that's the best play on 3rd down and less than a yard. You take the quarterback sneak and run it right up the gut. That time, that's not what the play call was, but because of the fumbled exchange, that's what James had to do, and he got the 1st down.
So under 5 minutes to play, and the Braves now are putting together a drive of their own. Here is Bedell off the left side. He got a nice block on the corner, turns the corner, and down to the 35-yard